Douglas Andrews, Master Wheelwright.
There's a piece of wood on your left-hand side on the bench. What is it?
This is a elm hub. It's a hub for some gypsy caravan wheels. That's one of the rear wheels.
How long would that take to season?
It's a year, an inch plus a year.
Okay.
So if this is a, so we bore a hole through the middle. So you're looking at a 4-inch piece there, plus a year, so that's 5 years. But then if it's stored in a shed outside and you want to bring it into an environment like this, workshop or wherever it's going to be stored in a drier environment, it's got to come in here and dry out for another month or so. We get the holes, get some mortises in it, get the hole bored out in the middle, and then it will dry out further.
Is it a dying craft, being a wheelwright?
Not really, we're busy at the moment.
I mean, as in busy. Number of people able to do it and having the skills.
I think it's sort of staying about the same, really. I think they're being replaced at the same rate that they're dying off.
You've been involved with Windmill Hill Windmill. What happened initially? How did you get involved with that?
Well, I think Michael Chapman came to see me about doing some work on the mill. I've done work on for millwrights on quite a lot of mills all over the place, and they're all over the country, but I haven't been there. Windmill Hill is sort of right on our doorstep, so he thought it was advantageous to get me to do it because then it would save money on getting guys to travel and stay while they do the work. So seeing as I'm just up the road, I've got all the tools and the equipment, and really it's transferable skills.
Transferable skills. So between being a millwright and being a wheelwright, there's quite a crossover then.
Well, it's all cutting and measuring and cutting.
Knowing how to deal with timber that's green and timber that's seasoned.
Well, yes, I mean, we don't like using green timber too much because it lets you down. If it's going to move, it's going to move.
Yeah.
So really it needs to be seasoned.
So if you were building 500 years ago, you were building a house, Henry VIII, he was on the throne 500 years ago, wasn't he? And you were building a house. Would you have just chopped down a tree and used it, or would they have laid it to dry?
Well,
what would they have done?
It would have taken a long time to get from being cut down to get to the building site for a start. I mean, once you start getting over 4 inches thick, oak doesn't really dry out a lot anyway, but it will do its moving about. And if you want to build a machine like a windmill, you don't want it to twist and warp, bend all over the place after you've built it, because nothing's going to line up. But boats, I mean, when they were building ships, they had to get the timber all the way to the dockyard, where they were mostly floated down the rivers, and that would wash a lot of sap out. And then they had big ponds to put the timber in to wash the sap out. Well, it's wet. You say it's going to be used in a ship where it's going to be wet all the time. They had to keep them wet. That's why they were always swabbing the decks down to keep it all swelled up and watertight.
Last year, I think it might have been May.
Yes.
I popped into Windmill Hill Windmill to see the new stocks and sweeps being put on.
Yes.
Now, how did you get involved with that?
Well, I've done quite a bit on the mill inside. And it was identified that the stocks and sweeps were rotten, and I was asked if I'd like to put a price on the job. So I did that, and then we had to source materials, and those materials had to meet the specifications set by SPAB, because the mill couldn't get funding unless the SPAB criteria were met. So we had to have Siberian larch, or it would have to be Douglas fir grown above 55 degrees latitude in Canada or somewhere like that. We're above 55 degrees latitude in this country, but our climate produces wide growth rings, and they demanded growth rings of 1 millimetre, between 1 and 1.5 I think millimetres. So really you've got to be pretty much drought conditions, so it's frozen conditions. And with the COVID and what have you, all the sawmills in America were shut, and that was all off, so nothing could come out of the States. So they went down the Siberian route, and it took a long time to get here, and that had to be laminated.
Where was it laminated?
Somewhere in Germany, I think.
Okay.
And do you know, there was a firm, so it went from Siberia to Germany to Yorkshire and then back down here.
Just go back to the laminated larch. If the larch has got to be laminated, presumably it's dried in some way before it's laminated. Is that kiln dried or seasoned? Do you know how they do it?
I probably kilned. I think it was supposed to be run through some sort of kiln, and the defects taken out, but they didn't take the defects out. They just docked it all off at length, so it wasn't ideal.
Okay.
We had to send some back.
What's the expected service life of the new sweeps and stocks that were fitted last year?
Well, one of the stocks is still one of the old ones, the holes put up there. So maybe that's got another 10 years.
Okay.
The new ones, I would have thought they should last 25. If you keep painting it, they've got to get up there and paint it. It's no good just saying, oh, it looks nice and clean. That paint's there to keep the all that pigeon starting crap out. Yeah. So Windmill Hill was built in the time when we were trading with the Baltic states and Canada, and we could get beautiful straight grain pitch pine. Yeah. When pitch pine would be the stuff, but you can't get it.
Yes. Are there enough people interested in future generations to keep this craft going?
Well, I hope so. I've got one lad who works for me who's interested. And I suppose really what's stopping, the fact that he's working for me is stopping me taking somebody else on. I think other people are out there that would be interested.
You mentioned something about Heathfield Show before you.
Well, I have noticed. I noticed this year at Heathfield Show, there was a lack of old boys that had grown up on farms. The ones that are getting to be sort of 85 now. When they were children, there were horses working on the farms, whereas they're just not there. There might be in a nursing home not being able to get to the show to have a chat with you, but it's definitely moving on. And people, a lot of people say, wooden wheels, what are they of? They haven't got a clue. It's so uneducated. So we try and educate people a little bit.